What's up? We are back. It is episode Carcass. Just pretend like you're on Sesame Street.
Now wait a minute. I thought this was 124.
Oh no! Don't tell me I screwed it up. Hang on. No.
It wouldn't be any worse than dyslexic dat tracks.
That's true. I see what you did there. No, 122 was last week. Five extreme favorites.
Well, then this is 1, 2, 3. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Why can't I get it?
1, 2, 3, baby. That's right. We are back. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great Carcass John, and always also right. He's right down
where
Scooter Waters, and we have a familiar face with us today as well.
Is your faith familiar?
That's right.
No,
because we so wronged him about 2 weeks ago, and we haven't slept a wink since then. So joining us is the great Vic Stone from Vindicator, and we are going to go through all things Vindicator today. We will not be sidetracked by Judas Priest talk.
and like we have 15 guys lined up to discuss various pundencies of Slipknot records.
That's right. So to kick us off, I have a shout out. I got something pretty cool in the mail yesterday from one of our viewers, Justin Harris, brother of the great Richie Harris, and they came from laserengraveart.com. He put a bunch of cool stickers in here. This is my favorite. Check this out.
Oh, nice. Man, that is cool.
Yeah, laserengraveart.com. So if you need stuff laser engraved, mugs, koozies, all that kind. Oh, I forgot to show you. I also got a leather koozie. Sorry, there's only one, suckers. So you bitches don't get one.
It pays to have friends in high places.
But check this out. So I open up the package, and there are 3 laser engraved metal round table thermal cups. Oh, but wait, there's more. Here's Carcass's. How about that? That's nice to be loved.
Frightening by the lightning bolts.
And it does say Scott Waters.
Right
Vic,
on,
I bet
man.
you don't have anything that badass, do you?
I have a flask with a caricature of me on it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty damn cool. So anything you need from that kind of, koozies and cups and all sorts of stuff, man, laserengraveart.com. Thank you so much for these rad cups. I'll be mailing Scott's out, and the next time I see the Carcass, I'll get him his. So
right on.
How about you boys? Shout out, Carcass?
I got a shout out.
Bring it.
Frozen Screams imprint. I don't know if you ever heard of these guys. Probably not, because, well, they're pretty brutal. But they do tapes, and they do... Well, here. I just want to show you what they sent me today.
Let's see it.
The newsletter from Wharf Lurch. And that is a beautifully unreadable logo, as you know I have a penchant for. But this is a really cool band from Florida. They are exactly like their name would sound. This was a TJ Lewis from Forebode recommendation, and they couldn't be any more brutal or hideous. And they sent me a kind of a program card and a sticker, and my favorite, a cassette that has a live set of Wharf Lurch that says "Transmission from the Swamp." So
nice.
Yes, and I've heard it in
the cassette.
Excuse me?
You do love the cassette.
I do love the cassette. I have a penchant for the cassette. And anyway, the convenience of a CD and the sound of a record. You got to love the cassette. So shout out to Frozen Screams imprint. They're a cool label. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, on Bandcamp. They have a huge following. And Richie Harris, I can't unsee that now. That is terrible moniker that you have. I can't. What's up, JT? Taking a break from renovating his house, and of course, we got our South Australia contingent ravaging the rest of the world.
Yes, we do. Scooter, what say you?
I'd like to shout out John Zazula, who is a metal legend, not necessarily for playing in bands, but for being a huge influence back in the early '80s in New Jersey, having his record store inside of a little flea market where I bought tons of music back in the day and became part of that whole New Jersey metal crowd back in the early '80s. But in any case, he also ran Megaforce Records, helped sign bands like Anthrax and Metallica, and brought bands like Raven and Venom across the seas to play here. Well, anyhow, he died today. So
What?
I thought I would shout him out. I just found that out shortly before the show. So
Oh,
Yeah, that sucks.
here's one for John Zazula. So
Right
I
on.
had no idea. Johnny Z. Wow.
so there you go.
Yep.
Starting everything off on a cheery mood.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
We're gonna pick it up with the man with the mane of metal hair. How about you, Vic? You got anybody you want to shout out?
Vic has officially been remonikered. Man with the mane. I love it.
Yeah. No, I sure I do, but I can't think of anything offhand. Sorry, my shout outs are weak, so
Laserengravart.com.
yeah.
There you go.
More for them.
I did get a cool new 7-inch vinyl in the mail this past week that I didn't know existed until the last time Vic was on the show.
What do you got there? Oh, look at that. You didn't have that, huh?
Didn't know about it until I was doing some research on you last time, and I was like, "Oh crap! How did I miss out on that?" Little 7-inch from Volcana.
That was our first go right there.
That's
We were on the Dive Bomb Masters of Metal comp, I think volume 4 with like Substratum and some other bands, a couple other bands, and the same day that they reached out to me, Austenitize reached out about that 7-inch, and I was like, so Dive Bomb was really cool about us being able to do that also at the same time on a different label. So that was cool, man. That's my first and only 7-inch that I've done. So that was exciting.
That is pretty sweet. Well, Scott's going to kind of lead us through this because he's got a big molten stack of your metal. And I think what we want to do is just kind of go through the history. We just want to start at the beginning of Vindicator and run it through. And obviously we want to include Volcana too. So yeah, kick us off, Scott. And I'm going to go pick up my.
Actually, I think we should start off with this. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. If you're going in periodical orders, no, that's periodic. You're going in numerical, chronological. There it is. There it is.
Oh.
Shout out to words. Words are hard.
I knew what you
yes. Well, I mean, technically, the band, yes, that particular release didn't come out until later, but that's the one. Yep, that's us. We're on there.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, we are. Fire away if you got questions about Violent Night.
Yeah, I don't
stories.
I don't know much about Violent Night other than I know it was the start of Vindicator. So tell us a bit about it, Violent Night.
Well, me and my brother, and you probably have a little bit of knowledge about Stutz and how Jesse and I always had music in the basement. So when we finally got ourselves to where we wanted to play music, he was still in high school. I was out of high school for a few years. If you know the history of Vindicator, you know that it was founded by me, Jesse, Wayne, and Marshall. Well, Wayne, we're all local South Amherst kids. Wayne used to deliver pizza for the local pizza place, and he showed up one day, and we'd all known each other from high school, and it was one of those things where it was like, hey, let's jam. And Violent Night started out as Snow White, which was spelled Snowwyt. We were very cutting edge with our spellings back then. And when we got Mikey Belisle in the band, he suggested a name change. He wasn't sold on the Snow White. We're like, dude, it's like Cinderella. But yeah, so we went through some names, and Jesse came up with Violent Night, and it kind of stuck with us. And that's kind of how the band started.
Right on. And then what happened to Violent Night that it became Vindicator?
So Violent Night is around for a few years. We play like a show a year. We were real hyper focused on being perfectionists, like we were going to be Dream Theater or something. And it didn't work well for the band. We'd rehearse like 3 times a week, but play out 1 time a year. It made no sense. And we were real confused genre wise. We had a lot of weird like prog songs and then like traditional metal songs and then like thrash songs. And we were covering things like Children of Bodom and also Metallica. And it was difficult to build a fan base because they couldn't, pin us down, so ultimately what happened was I butted heads too many times with Mikey, who, he wanted to go in the more progressive direction. He wanted to sound more like Children of Bodom and Arch Enemy and kind of stuff like that. And the rest of the band we didn't really want to go that route. And so ultimately the band fell apart. And Jesse, Wayne, and myself decided that we weren't done doing things yet. Enter Vindicator.
Right on. And you guys immediately became you just said we're going to play thrash metal, or?
Yeah, we always liked the songs in Violent Night. Wayne and I had, an affinity for the thrashier stuff, the more straightforward stuff. And so I think it was a few months after the band split up, we were like, let's do this. And this time, though, we weren't trying to be perfectionists. We wrote like 8 songs or so, and we started booking shows pretty much immediately. And we didn't give a shit what we sounded like. We just wanted to get out there and play. And this is around the time of the rehearsal demo and then South Amherst Thrash both came out like within a year and a half of us forming.
Right on. I got that sitting right over here somewhere because we just released that.
Correct.
Year,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Somewhere there it is. The Thrash and Demolished compilation of early demo stuff. This is raw.
Oh, okay. So that's the South Amherst Thrash and rehearsal. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that. Okay.
So the rehearsal, the South Amherst Thrash demo was more of a proper demo. We actually recorded that with Mikey at his place on like a Fostex, digital workstation. And so that was more of a proper demo where we were tracking stuff and actually sitting down and doing individual things and whatever. Whereas the rehearsal demo is what it is. It's just an iPod with an extension to record in a different room, and we went through our set. That's why the rehearsal demo is as blown out and raw as it is. It sounds like a bootleg. I love it.
Yeah.
But it served its purpose. That was the first thing that we handed out at shows was the rehearsal demo, and it was just 1 track back then. It was just like a 26-minute track because we didn't have a means to separate it. So, yeah, we just I think we put all the song titles in the wave, so it was just separated by slashes, and we would hand those out on CDRs, and then eventually when we did the proper demo, that's when we made like the 100 in slim jewel cases, printed out the sleeves ourselves, the inserts, put them in there, hand stamped them. You were still getting 1 track of 26 minutes, but the essay, the South Amherst Thrash demo was actually separated like it should be. And we didn't end up separating those tracks until 2014, I think. We left them that long. I think I realized that the demo was getting bootlegged online, which I thought was hilarious. You can get, an image for the insert, and I was like, well, I'll give it away, like if people want it that bad, and threw some new art on it because it was just our logo and our MySpace and what it was called. And the rest is history, I suppose, with that one.
Right on. So then you put out your first album, 2007 or 6?
2008.
Which was
so fun story. There Will Be Blood came out after an entire year hiatus. A lot of things happened for Vindicator, like in the first year that we existed. We started playing as many shows as we possibly could, put out a couple demos, got offered a contract with Heavy Artillery. And at the time, things just kind of came a little bit unglued. I was a little more bullheaded back then than I am now. And I had this whole thing where you did music or you didn't. And Marshall decided he wanted to go to college, and that sort of kind of cracked the foundations for me, so we kind of let it set for a year. I ended up moving out of state, and with my wife, moved back to South Dakota where she's from, and paid off a lot of debt. And the thing that brought us back, was, ironically enough, Mantic Ritual. So I love Jeff to death, and he knows that. But they were always kind of like, I always had like this, they didn't know that there was a competition, but there was a competition because they were from Pittsburgh, right? They were the young thrash band from Pittsburgh. And when I think, who was it? Nuclear Blast signed them. And oh man, that set me over the top. That was it. We're picking it back up. And because I didn't really know what was going to happen with the band, to be honest, we almost didn't do There Will Be Blood. So bought a trailer, bought a van, moved back, restarted the band, and half those songs were already written, and it was pretty easy for us to get into a studio and track There Will Be Blood.
Now, was it the same guys at that point, or had you had some?
Yeah, well, yeah. So it was, Wayne had left a couple shows in to the original lineup. He felt like he wasn't cut out for it or something, and he decided to quit the band pretty early on. So we were a power trio for a long time, which I don't play lead guitar. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm very much a Kerry King type character when it comes to lead guitar. So there's a lot of whammy bar nonsense, and that it never was my vision for the band, but I did what I had to do. Well, some kind of noise has got to go here, so I'll just hammer on this and Kaler bar the hell out of it. So when we decided to go into the studio for There Will Be Blood, we started talking to a guy whom Jesse had found through like the guy leaving demos at local record stores and had like his name on them, and we reached out to him, and I think he might have even contacted Jesse about starting a band, but he was available. That's Bob Schubert, and so he was our lead player on that album. So it's all the original guys. Marshall was up for it, and we just decided okay, we'll make this work with him going to school. And we stayed pretty busy, but yeah, so we got him back on board. That studio was in the loft of a garage. So in the summertime, it was like, 110 degrees. It was amazing. It was a great tracking experience.
Been there and done that, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
That gives you stories, I suppose.
So what? So then There Will Be Blood came out, and you guys started touring on that. Was it not too soon after? Because I know you guys did at least one full tour.
Yeah, our first tour is an absolute joke, but it had to be done. So this is an interesting story. Around the time we put that out, Hyrax released a live album called Thrash and Destroy.
Right. Good album.
And we had a little bit of beef with that. And I was complaining about it one night to my wife, and she literally emailed Hyrax and said, "What's up with that? That's been our thing since like 2006. We were putting it on shirts, that is our slogan." And left my phone number in the email. And I'm sitting at my computer one night, and I get this California number. This is back when I would answer random numbers too. I wouldn't do it today, but back then I did. I was like, "Hello?" And on the other end, it's like, "Hey man, this is Caton DePena from Hyrax." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Who is this?" I mean, this is no shit. It's like exactly what happened in Rockstar to me. It was huge. Caton was calling me on the phone. And so by the end of it, he had offered us a show in Hollywood, and he was like, "It's next month." So we had a month to book a tour, which is, you don't book a tour in a month. So on our first tour, we played 2 shows, Kansas City and Hollywood, all in the same week. Drove back the following week. So, but we had to do it. It was a miserable show too. Our first appearance in California, those people, it was a lot of this in the shadows. Mm-hmm. Hatchet's guitarist Sterling was one of the few people who came up to the stage and actually watched us. But we earned our stripes. We saved Merciless Death that night. They were playing, broke a bass string, didn't have a backup bass. We saved that set. We had a lot of fun. And the next, dude, I don't know. And he didn't have a backup, and he couldn't restring it. So
have you ever seen Andy Torres play? Then you'd understand why he broke a string.
Yeah, yeah,
He'd hit it pretty hard. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so it earned us our stripes, though. So the next time we were in California, people knew who we were and respected us a great deal more. You know, it was a weird thing because we had always heard, oh, California. I was expecting to see stage diving and massive pits, and no, we didn't get that. We got people hanging out in the shadows, you know, mean mugging us. So it was, but like I said, next time we were there, it was a different story. So it's just how it goes sometimes, I suppose.
Oh, when you guys played New Mexico, you had a good crowd, and the crowd was really into it. So
Yeah, that was our second time out, and then we went back to Cali on that trip, and that was there were some real good shows and some classic horrible shows, but I mean that's just that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Anyhow, I bought a. Probably sure it's about back here. Bought a patch.
Classic horrible shows make for good stories, though.
Yeah, no, it's never not fun. Early younger me was hyper focused on business and performing well, and I didn't live in the moment as much as I should have. That's some advice I'd give upstarts, is I'd say, live every day, man, of this, no matter how horrible it is, because you don't know when you're going to stop doing it. You don't know when that opportunity is going to be gone. So there's a little bit of regret in some of those early tours that I wish I would have slowed down a little bit and just enjoyed what was happening around me, because there was a lot of enjoyable stuff. It was a lot of fun.
So then next up would have been what the split EP you did with Metal Witch.
Correct. Yeah, that's the next release that we did. We started on those tracks.
Slaney Records, right out of Ireland.
Yeah, we started on those tracks pretty soon after There Will Be Blood. We were just in the mood and managed to get those tracks out. And Slaney approached us. And then after we came back, we didn't reapproach. Back then, I thought that record labels had to approach you or they weren't interested. That was also a misconception that younger me had, that older me laughs at. So Slaney approached us about doing something, and he wanted to do this split series, and I wasn't real sold on splits. I tried to convince him to do an EP, which he later on did for Fatal out of Florida. He did a couple EPs with Fatal, but I wanted to do an EP, but he was real sold on it. I actually came up with the title for that EP, the Outbreak of Metal series. Outbreak of Metal is my pun on Sodom title. I thought that was cool. Play, not pun, play. But yeah, that was the next set of recording that we did. We did it at a different studio. So the engineer was the first engineer we hadn't actually. There Will Be Blood wasn't engineered by a guy who actually tracked metal bands. He was just a guy looking to do some work. He was more accustomed to tracking like pop and kind of folk type stuff.
Which is
right. And I liked how There Will Be Blood turned out. We didn't try to get it to sound like it was straight out of the 80s. That's just how that happened. People accuse us of that we did that on purpose. No, that's what we got. And we were like, yes, this is perfect. So the guy that we had on the split, though, he knew a little bit about metal. So we got a little bit more of an, I love the sound, the sonics on the split. That studio changed after that, and it wasn't the same. I absolutely love those songs. There's just a rawness to them, and it may be that we tracked in like a cinder block room, really weird shaped one at that. But I don't know, it was cool. It's a really cool studio.
Yeah, I just know from recording over the years, it's there's a lot of similar frequencies going through those speakers,
right?
And, microphones, and if you don't know how to separate those things properly and get the separation of the instruments, man, you can end up with nothing but mud.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was good at what he did, and sonically, man, I always loved how that turned out. It was terrific.
And then next up would have been what, the promo EP?
Well, technically, the promo EP came before the split, because Slaney was real bummed out that we were doing that tour and he wasn't going to have us the EP in time. And he felt real bad about it. They felt real bad about it. And so they made those, and we thought, okay, we'll put one of the new songs on there, and we'll put a couple from There Will Be Blood on there, and give them away for free so people know what's coming out. And then the split happened,
which is probably
so
where
we had those on the tour that we came through town with, and we didn't have the split at that time.
Right. So yeah, I probably got this because I ended up with 2 copies. So I probably got one from Slaney, and then I got one from you. So, and actually this one here has got a little sticker on it because somebody requested to have this copy, so it's going to Rob.
Woo! I'm sitting here trying to nonchalantly scour the internet for Vindicator releases.
Metal Archives, man. Always go to the Metal Archives. That's
For real,
just
man.
Discogs.
Well, I have a
or Discogs.
I have an artistic question only because I'm looking at some folks that have joined us, and Destroyer from Nocturnal Breed in Norway has joined us. I should have worn my Dark Throne shirt, but anyway, who did your logo? That's a killer. That is the perfect heavy metal logo.
Thank you. It was a combination of me, Marshall, and I that came up with that. Between our efforts, we were able to cook that up. And I've explained this on a million interviews. I'm going to do it here again. People have accused us in the past of ripping off Violator because our V's are both pointed in the same direction. At the time, we had no idea who Violator were. Stateside, we hadn't heard of them yet.
Yeah.
And even for people who knew underground stuff, they were just on the cusp of coming through. So when we Googled Vindicator as a band name, no bands came up. But we certainly didn't Google red and white logos with pointy V's going to the right. So I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. That's one angry metal guy, when he reviews our stuff, he absolutely comments on our logo every time. It's his,
Dude,
it's one of his favorite logos in metal.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. In fact, it looks similar. If you really want to get down to brass tacks, it looks similar to one. In fact, Terry Sullivan, who happens to be my brother-in-law, used to be the singer for Steel Fury, and I did a logo for them that looks kind of similar, but yours looks top notch, man. I always, kind of hone in on the artistic side of it too, because it's got to look good, or people aren't that interested. But
and we've had a logo touching up in the past few years. During the Marshall years, that's the original logo. So you'll find the logo slightly different from the releases up until United We Fall. It was a really hard logo to place because it's very tall because of the points, and it's very wide. And I had Tom Martin of Lich King kind of compress it a smidge and change the A a little bit. It's still intact. It's still the same logo, but there is a variation there due to space restraints. It was much, and even though we didn't change it drastically, just that little bit that he did actually made it considerably easier to place. So,
Scott and I, we worked on that a little bit and had to kind of bend, fold, and manipulate on the art for that thrash and the demolition thing. And but that was a combo of. He didn't want to overlap it because he wanted to show that whole logo, and I thought, well, we got to somehow squeeze it up in there, and I think it turned out pretty cool, actually.
It did, absolutely did.
Did you just say squeeze it up in there? He's going to deny it, Scott. He's going to deny it.
No, I did say that.
He did say that.
Yeah, mark it down.
I think I even did a rubber glove motion, too.
2820 on episode 123.
Okay. Jeez Louise. But anyway,
check out this comment. I don't know if you can read that, Vic.
We're just going to change his name.
I'm on my phone, man. I struggled to read the tiny text.
Okay.
I'm in the process of getting my computer set up for this kind of stuff.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So Mark
I apologize.
Massacre, who watches a lot, says, "I'm gonna try to do this without coughing." I apologize.
He's from Melbourne, Australia, too, by the way.
Go ahead and read that, you guys. I'm about to choke here.
It just says, I just bought the Vindicator Communal Decay album from Bandcamp. Had a quick listen to the first song and was damn impressed. Great stuff. I'm going to blast it loud after the show ends.
Right on.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah.
So, well from Melbourne, Australia. Woohoo!
I guess we can, even though I was going to get to that at the end, but I guess we can announce now that you're sold out of that album pretty much, right?
Correct. Yeah.
We are going to.
I am sold out.
We are going to repress 300. I can't remember. We're going to repress a bunch more copies on CD, and we're also going to repress vinyl. So that's going to be coming later this year.
That's exciting. Yeah, I enjoy having my stuff on giant formats. That's because I like the touch. I like the touch and feel of records, man. I'm still a CD guy. But I like getting my stuff on vinyl. I don't know. Maybe it's just some weird form of narcissism, but I love it.
It's just cool because it's kind of. I'm a CD guy too, but man, when you get the artwork in your hands, with the logo and blazing across, that's just badass, man.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm going to throw up a couple of comments here. Donnell says, "Hold me close, Tony Danza." And Concept Machine, Killer Show guys. Vindicator is one of the good ones for sure. So good to see there's such a thrash scene or such a scene in the U.S. for this. Doing this in the 90s was a slow roll on glass.
Yeah.
And here we are still. This isn't the 90s anymore, boys.
That's right. Go ahead, Scott. We cut you off. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to go to the next album.
The Antique Witcheries, the bane, the thorn in my side. Yes. So Antique Witcheries was recorded in the same studio that the Split was recorded in. That was our first and only record on Heavy Artillery Records, thankfully. And that was an accomplishment for us, but we didn't get to live in that moment. It kind of sucked. You know, I was very excited to go into FYE and see my shit in there, and to go into Best Buy and see my stuff in there. I wanted to go in. We're on the back of the CD. I wanted to go in and carry it around to people and be like, like an asshole. But it was exciting for me. And that CD was not distributed in my area because of demographics. Because I was pretty livid the day it come out, and I couldn't find it anywhere besides a couple like local record stores.
Yeah,
and,
I'm feeling really well.
I was very, very, very upset about that, amongst other things later on with that whole deal. But yeah, that was recorded, and sonically it didn't turn out the same way as the Split. We went back to that studio because we liked how the Split sounded, and he was doing very well for himself, so he did change and upgrade a few things. Ultimately, I think it lost a little bit when he did change stuff around at that studio, that particular engineer. But I mean, hey, it was his studio. He was going to do what he wanted. But yeah, I don't know. The drums don't sound the same. It doesn't feel like. I wish that it had the production that the Split has. That's my gripe about the recording itself. But you know, it is what it is.
Recording on that one. I like the cover a lot too. I always thought the cover was awesome.
Yeah, the cover's one of those memorable ones. So originally that was supposed to be There Will Be Blood's album art, and we hired Halsey Cost, who was doing she was the Ed Repka of the new thrash movement, and so we hired her to do it. And the first piece she got back to me, I was like, no, this isn't what I wanted, and she was cool enough to be like, that's fine, I'll do a different one. And that's the one we got, but we did not get it in time to submit our stuff to the pressing plant in time.
Oh.
And so Marshall, you know, the art, which were for the Antique Witcheries.
I mean, this has nothing to do with Vindicator, but I just wanted to share a stupid story that happened. I remember when our second CD came out, and I went into it was on Diamante, so it was going to be distributed everywhere. It was going to be in all the stores. So the day it came out, I went into what was it called, Hastings? Remember the store Hastings used to be all over the place. Like I want to buy my own damn CD. Again, and it was supposed to be released the same day as the Mortification album, and we're both in the same label, both the same distribution. So I go into the metal section and I find the Mortification on it. Where's the Ultimatum then? I need to get the Ultimatum. So I go and I ask the clerk, "You guys get this in?" You said you were getting some in, and he says, "Yeah, we got it in." He looks it up. He goes, "Oh, it's over there with Amy Grant and the BB and the CC Winans." I said, "What is it doing in there?" He goes, "It's gospel music." I said, "It's not. It's heavy metal." He goes, "Well, it's coming from a gospel label," and I held it. It's on the same label as this. It's the same distribution company. Well, it's gospel. I said, "Oh, okay, got it." I said, "Hey, you can show me where the Hare Krishna section is, because I need some Chromags." And it's freaking stupid. Anyhow, I ended up walking over, and they had 2 or 3 copies. I think I had 3 copies. I bought one of them. I took the other 2 copies and ran it over, put it over the metal section, stuck it in there. Pissed me off.
See, that's when you crack. That's when you crack it open.
Man,
that's when you crack it open and you take it to the player and you say, "Here, let's praise the Lord right now."
Yeah, at least you got to find it in a record store. Because like I said, that was going to be a major achievement for me, man. And not seeing it in those stores. I mean, it was in certain areas. It was in California. You go to a Best Buy and get it, but it was like, man, like not being able to get it here, and that bummed me out really bad. But hey,
Town, exactly.
that's
So
done and over with now.
Heavy Artillery's gone, right? So do you guys actually own this one now? Finally?
No.
Okay.
No. There's got to be a story.
That's currently in the icy clutches of Earache, and it ain't going anywhere. So yeah, kids, when you sign a record deal, make sure you actually have an entertainment lawyer look it over and not just a lawyer. There's a difference there, because we signed a bad deal, and that's what we got out of it. And Earache they're pretty stubborn about stuff. So
well, weren't all the deals on Heavy Artillery pretty much bad deals? I saw what Merciless
no,
signed.
the original deals weren't. They became copyright deals after a certain point.
Right.
Some of the deals there was actually there was an end point to the contract where you would get your rights back. I think, pretty sure. And if you just licensed if you were smart and licensed your music, then you were fine. But yeah, the Heavy Artillery deal was work for hire, and it was rough. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
And we were stupid. We were stupid kids. You know, we took it to a lawyer. He looked it over and he literally said, "Yeah, this is pretty basic stuff." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And turns out that lawyer was just not. He wasn't versed in. You know, he wasn't going, "Hey, you know, if you guys do this, then you're just not going to get the stuff back, ever."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
That's what that is.
On our very first contract we were offered, we took it to a lawyer who knew entertainment stuff, and he looked. He came back to us the next day. He said, "If you guys sign this," he goes, "you're dumber than I think you guys already are." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice." But I mean, it really, honestly, he's like, basically, you go to their studio, you use their producers, they charge you whatever they want to charge you to record the album. You record all your songs, and then when you're all done and recording, they decide whether or not they're going to put it out or not. They can shelve your album, and then you still owe them the money.
Oh, wow.
And they still own your songs, so you can't actually have your songs even if they decide not to put it out.
Yeah, that sounds stellar.
Yeah, we're gonna pass on this deal. I understand that. But anyhow, let's move on. This was the follow-up.
Yep. A few years later, it took us a couple of years to correct some big lineup changes there. You know, we've always had a revolving door for lead players. It's been difficult, and they all leave of their own volition. It's never like, you know, after Violent Night and button heads with that lead player, I toned it down quite a bit, you know, and I didn't get mad about as much stuff as I was, you know, but you know, so I didn't like try to argue with people about, you know, little odds and ends and this and that during, you know, constructing music and whatnot. But you know, so we had Bob left to start his own band, and I don't know, his excuse at the time was he needed health care. I'm not kidding. He came downstairs, he said, "I need health care," and then he started a different band, and I don't know. I think he's a DJ now. After Bob, we had Mike on the split. Mikey joined Vindicator, but I don't know, he just didn't stick around. But he did do the solos on the Antique Witcheries. We convinced him to come in and do that because he was slated to do that. So thankfully he came in and did that. We didn't have to try to find somebody. We convinced the kid from California to come out to Ohio in an intermediate position. Like he joined the band, Mick Mayer, and I don't know, he was in the band for a little while. He did a couple tours with us. His mom got sick, and he was originally from Massachusetts, I think, or Connecticut. And he moved back out there because I guess his mom was sick. And then here we are. Marshall quits the band. This is hard for us. We just put out the Antique Witcheries. We've got this massive tour booked. It's our biggest tour to date. It's supposed to be a month and a half out. And our lead player quits and our vocalist quits. And that left us in quite the lurch because we needed to do it. Well, I sang in Violent Night for a little while. And I was like, whatever, man. I know how to play and sing. I'll just take up the mic. I've written, a lot of these lyrics, so I know how they go, and I'm not unfamiliar with doing that kind of stuff. So because we tried I think we tried a couple people out on the mic and it just didn't work out. And we tried a couple people out on lead guitar and it didn't work out. So we went out as a 3-piece. So there were no harmonies. I pride myself on writing cool harmonies. That's always been a thing that I love to do. Having Iron Maiden as an influence, you got to have cool harmonies. And so none of the cool harmonies in our music was present. No solos were present. We just went out and we played our songs, sans solos, sans harmonies for a month because we had to shave a couple weeks off because we were trying people out and nothing was working out. And on that tour, we met James LaRue, who was filling in for Aggressor out of Canada. And him and Jesse became quick friends. And he had mentioned, I knew who he was from, Holy Grail and White Wizard. I mean, when that White Wizard, when High Speed GTO came out, Jesse and I sat in Jesse's room and watched it on I think he had a giant screen TV at the time. We're like, oh man, this is so cool, man. This is so cool. How did these guys afford to make this cool video? And this song is so fucking cool. And so we knew him from that, and he became friends with Jesse and was like, hey, I like your style. I like your guys' sound. I'm interested in joining. And we were like, yes, this is huge for us because both White Wizard and Holy Grail are prominent bands. Mm-hmm. And well, of course, it wasn't super huge for us like I thought it was going to be. Like, Blabbermouth wasn't sharing that news and nobody was hitting us up, but still, like, it was still an accomplishment for me. And James was a phenomenal player. He still is one of my favorite lead players I've ever worked with. And so that follow-up from the Antique Witcheries to United We Fall took a few years. We did a Bastards of Noise and Aggression demo the year before United We Fall came out. It doesn't sound much different from what's on United We Fall. It's a little different production, and I think I retracked the vocals, and maybe James did a couple different things on lead. And I think James played bass on that, so we hadn't gotten Mike Kurtz yet on bass. Yeah, United We Fall. That's one of my swan song albums. I have a couple albums that I've released that are incredibly important, and to me, the pinnacle of what I've done. And United We Fall is certainly one of those records. I mean, I love everything I've done, but that record, I still listen back to that and can't figure out where my mind was to come up with some of the stuff that I came up with. Like, it's still shocking to me to go, I don't even know how I played that. It's wild to me, man. And I think it was grossly underappreciated. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, because if somebody else would have put that record out, I'd have said and got the same response, I'd have said the same thing.
Oops.
But we didn't understand like how PR worked, and we didn't have a PR person, and that hurt the overall reception of the record as well. So that album was a major. It was bittersweet. I absolutely love it. I love what it's about. I love the sound on it. I love the riffs. I love all of it. But when James left, that one hurt. That one stung. And we tried to keep going. We continued to steam on. Yeah, Scott, go ahead and the next release.
Wouldn't that be this one?
I find it tremendously interesting.
No, Sleeping with Evil. Sleeping with Evil was the next one.
Where is it?
I find it tremendously interesting that there was a Holy Grail White Wizard connection, because I love those bands. I remember when that High Speed GTO came out, and I was like, oh my God, these guys are going to save American metal.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm a massive fan. Luna's vocals are, he is one of my favorite new vocalists of like my generation. But James's guitar work is, it's.
I do have one question
tough.
about before you move on with the United We Fall.
Yeah, please.
Hey, Rob, can you make me big for a second?
Okay.
So I want to give it.
Yeah, hang on. If I can figure out, I'm a producer, Scott. Just hang on.
I know you are. I want to know what's up with this picture. But he's on a phone, so it's got to be big enough so you can see it. There it is. What's going on there?
Well, you don't like business professional Vindicator, huh? I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something different. Oh, it's funny because the guy, the dude in Oh, it ends in or. They were a new thrash band too. They were off the East Coast. Eliminator.
Oh, Eliminator.
That guy accused me of ripping him off because we wore dress shirts and ties. Like no other band had done that before. And he started causing a big stink about it. It was like pretty sure a lot of bands have done this exact look, but okay. We wanted to go for like the whole, I don't know, it was a different idea. I wanted a gimmick, you know. And I liked the idea of looking, the album's very political, so I wanted to look kind of professional in that sense. So we rocked that look into the Sleeping with Evil days, but you know, went back to our just shoes and shirts shortly after that.
Did you actually
Sleeping with Evil?
play like that?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. We played in with the ties.
Wow.
And let me tell you, when a tie will flop out onto your strings while you're trying to play. Eventually, I got one of those clips that you put in to keep it to your shirt because it would get over my guitar, and that didn't sound cool. That wasn't a cool sound. Tie on string picking.
I was
tie muting. That's what it was.
I was always so dripping wet because I was like so mobile on the stage, man. A tie would make me freaking nuts.
Oh, it was very, very hot, very warm. And the shirts when we went on tour for Sleeping with Evil sometime. Oh shoot, what would that have been? 2014, I think it was. And we didn't wash those shirts for like 4 days. It wasn't a long one, but 4 days. And man, they were pretty rank. And it was great because they would get like those crazy salt stains from sweat.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then you put them on and you've got like urban camouflage on. So, but
I love it.
Yeah, the Sleeping with Evil material, Sleeping with Evil was tracked at the exact same time as United We Fall. All that stuff was supposed to appear on something else Slaney wanted to do. Slaney wanted to release like a 7-inch along with the album. And I thought that was odd because I thought that's a lot of money and you want an EP to be released at the exact same time as an album. All right, whatever. So we tracked a bunch of material and all of it but one thing is on Sleeping with Evil. And then we included, when Stormspell did it, they didn't want to do an EP. They wanted to do, they wanted some bonus material. That's why we included Destruction of Justice. At the time when Destruction of Justice got booted off of United We Fall, because I didn't like my vocals on it at the time, I was like, I don't know, it's not sitting with me, so we just pulled it off the record, and we put that instrumental version on there, which is literally just a song sans vocal, any vocal tracks. Rampage we recorded with Jim Sadis from Nunslaughter. He brought us into a Cleveland studio and wanted us to experience tape. He's like, you guys got to experience tape. I tracked a tape. And so almost all of that was done in, I think it's called, I don't know, the spot's called Rock and Roll Studios, but I don't know what the studio inside was called. It's like a rehearsal place. And so we tracked all of that to tape, except for I don't think we had bass, leads, or vocals. So the bulk of the stuff was done. So then we kind of wrapped it up with finishing it up with the vocals and the bass and the lead parts. And then Vindicator Live. I like that version of Vindicator because we do the fun trade-off thing. That's something we worked on. And it was a fun thing to do. It was a really fun thing to do live. That was recorded at Warriors Metal. And we did it specifically for that. We've never done it since. Not like we played a bunch of shows after that, but it was fun to have Jesse and James were doing trade-offs, so it'd be a drum fill and a guitar fill, and we're up there pointing. I think maybe there was, I don't know, Ed might have done something, but that was super fun. And that was tracked on a phone. That's a phone recording.
Wow.
But it's got that live bootleg thing. I have that weird affinity for live bootlegs. So but that rounded it out. That rounded it out to kind of make it, more full length in terms of time. But the intro to that record was written for that specifically too. James had already left the band at that point. I asked him to go ahead and finish those tracks up, and he wrote that cool intro, the Succubus, or what's it called? Shit, I don't remember. Yeah, the Succubus into Sleeping with Evil. So I like intros on albums, so I thought he did a great job on that, knocked it out of the park.
So then we would have,
and then that brings us to Communal Decay.
Or Volcano.
James is watching, by the way.
Oh, you're doing it in an actual chronological. Yes. So Volcana, in between 2014 and 2020, Volcana had several releases. I was writing one day. I was like, it was Eric Nelson from Vector was talking about alternate tunings, and for whatever reason, I've only ever played in D standard, and I was like, oh, I should try some of these other tunings, and I tuned to C standard, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is like the sword, and I started writing riffs in C standard. And I'm like, I can't use this for Vindicator, so I wrote out these kind of the sword sounding traditional Doom type songs. And I got a hold of a guy that filled in for Seven Witches when we did the Seven Witches Vicious Rumors tour, and Glenn Monturi, and he was down. He was up for it. He was like, "Yeah, I'll play drums on that." Phenomenal drummer, absolutely phenomenal drummer. And I'd been talking to Jeff about maybe joining Vindicator, and under the guidance of some friends, they were like, "You should do something new. Try branch out, do something new." So I was like, "All right." So I started working on these songs. I got super guilty, and I just dropped it. I stopped working on them, and focused on Vindicator miserably for another like year, and nothing was coming of it. At that point, Jesse didn't even want to do it, and I was looking for an entire band except for Ed. And I went back to Volcana, and I tracked those two songs that are on the 7-inch. And it was supposed to be an EP originally, and I wanted to have it out in time for. I was going to Legions of Metal in Chicago, and I wanted to have it out in time for that. And then I was only able to get it out digitally, and was contacted by both Austenitized and Dive Bomb to put it on the various formats that it's on. And it was really exciting. It got a couple reviews, not a whole bunch, but it was exciting because I went into that going, man, this is hairy as fuck, and I have no expectations for this to do anything. It was just good to do it, and people loved it. People were like, "This is great, man." And the reviews were like, we want to hear more, and we were very excited and motivated, and we got Goddess of Flame is the next release then, and that is one of my all-time favorite things that I've done too. That album is very, very special to me. I'm very proud of it, and that was a super fun record to write, and it was refreshing having fun and being excited writing. Whereas, Vindicator started to be a drag and kind of started to get, taxing. So that was really fun to write. I'm lost now, Scott, because there's like 4 things that came out in 1 year. I don't know if you have them all.
Nope. It's going to be.
I think like Violent Night, Vanek 2, and the first Black Fang thing came out in 1 year. And I think another Volcana, Violent Night, and Vanek all released something in 1 year, and I think Black Fang did too.
I forgot about Vanek.
So I'm on Vanek too. I helped write the song "The Werewolf," and the Violent Night record. I don't want to hold you guys up because I know it's getting. I drag out.
No, you're
the
good.
Violent Night record. The Violent Night record was I was talking to Wayne after the fact. And I said to him, let's do a Violent Night record. I said, we're not going to play any shows on it. We're not going to do another record, but let's do a record. And I drew a lot from the source material. Those songs I rewrote a bunch of the songs. I retitled them. I wrote new lyrics because I've developed as a lyricist. 20-year-old me wasn't the best lyricist. I'm way better than that now. So it was fun to go in and do kind of an eclectic record. But if you've listened to the Violent Night records, you know that it's kind of eclectic. There's a song on there that sounds like Artillery. There is an absolute Iron Maiden part, and a song that sounds more like a Dokken or kind of song. There's a lot of different influences there on that album.
Yes.
And I'm glad it got done. I'm real excited that it got done, and especially given Wayne passed away the following year. So it kind of immortalized him, to get that out, So that album's special and painful, also bittersweet. But it was nice to get that to completion. There's only one song on that album that wasn't changed lyrically or riff wise. That's Light the Dynamite. We wrote that song. It's a ridiculous party song. And I told him, I said, this one's not getting changed. This one stays the same. So, but yeah, I think Volcana did a couple EPs too, in between Goddess of Flame and that. So Volley of the War Gas, which didn't, I pressed both EPs to cassette, called Chasm Tracks. It's got Volley of the War Gas on it. And then in 2020, I did Feast with Abandon. They're both, 4 or 5 songs, I think. 4 songs maybe on both of them. I don't know, something like that. Vanek 3, I wasn't on. Yeah, I only did it on cassette, Scott. It's digitally. You can get it digitally, but cassette. I wasn't on Vanek 3, but I did contribute the track "The Creature." And then I think we're caught up to. Well, no, I did Black Fang too. In 2020, Jesse and I did a joke speed metal band called Black Fang. If you like songs about stabs and knives and stabs, and if you like knife sounds in your music, definitely is for that.
I was gonna say I knew Scott had it.
Yeah, so we did the EPs are also on a cassette as well. Because I can afford to press cassettes, so I do cassettes sometimes. That one I modeled that cassette after Dawkins' Breaking the Chains. Everything in it is an absolute replica, like the way that's laid out. The Elektra logo I changed to not get sued. I can't remember what the name of the label is, but it's something like Elektra, like Electra or something. I just moved some stuff around, and I used the Dawkins insert to do all of that stuff based on. So if you have a copy of Breaking the Chains, if you get the insert, the J card out and look at it, you'll notice that everything lines up pretty much exactly the same. But then, like I said, me and my brother, me and Sean Vanek from Vanek and Midnight did the first Black Fang record. He played drums and guitar on it. But then I got Jesse and another guy to do the full length. We did a full length because it's just fun. It's just mind-numbing fun. That was another really fun record to do. I mixed that whole thing. That was my first take at mixing, so that was a blast to do. Now that brings us up to Communal Decay, though.
Yep, right here.
So that's well, except for Liquor Quick. I did that Liquor Quick song too, over 2020. The Liquor Quick single, Keystone Light. If you guys haven't watched my Liquor Quick video, you need to.
I've not seen that. I'm intrigued.
I'll look it up.
I sent it to you. I sent you a message, Rob. You got it. It's in your messages.
Okay. I will check that.
You have to give that a listen.
I also have a question. I would like to direct everybody to your Bandcamp page, vindicator.bandcamp.com. Very easy. And if CDs are not your thing, or kick-ass patches are not your thing, or maybe buttons are not your thing, you could get yourself some heavy metal cleansing bars.
Yeah, man, we were one of the first bands to do soaps. I think I'm pretty sure we did soaps back in. Oh man, I think it was.
I'm buying some.
No, it was Run United. It was Run United We Fall because we did or Sleeping with Evil because we've got all of our albums have their own bar of soap. It was funny. The soaps actually smell really good. But yeah, I guess thrash guys weren't really into that idea. So
I
have a lot of soap left over.
Well, you're about to have 4 bars less because I hate to even admit this. Carcass is never going to let me down. Let this die. I'm kind of a soap guy. I'm just saying.
Well, okay. All things. Now that we're divulging our innermost secrets, I love Dr. Squatch. So Vic.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna buy some Vindicator soap because that's a lot cooler than Dr. Squatch. Although I like Dr. Squatch, I'm not plugging them for any reason other than I understand your infatuation with suds, Rob.
Yeah, man. We knew a guy that made soap. And he was like, I'll make you some soap. And we're like, all right, let's do that. Why not? Why not? It's marketing. I mean, we'll try anything, man.
Yeah.
We sold a few here and there. People were like, what, is that soap? Yeah, it's soap, man.
So here are the titles of the 4 soap fragrances or flavors or whatever you want to call it. There will be Suds, the Antique Soaperies, and United We Lather, and also one that's not listed in the description. I believe I can read Bathing with Evil.
Yes, Bathing with Evil.
I am buying soap from your band camp right now. So if I put quantity 4, can I get one of each still?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Kick ass.
If not, make a note of it. You can make a note when you can send the band a message and just say that you want one of each. Unless, do you have to select one?
You have to select one, but I'll put it in there.
Then just select one of each. Should do it that way. That should work. Just add each one to your cart.
Oh, I'm gonna figure this out. Oh, I'm ordering soap right now. Do not.
Well, maybe your soap sales were down because so many people saw you with those sweaty shirts, and they just figured.
That may have been. These guys don't use their own soaps. They smell real bad.
Yeah.
And if anybody's out there like outbidding me on these soaps right now, I'm gonna be pissed.
Outbidding you? Is it a?
Well, I mean, like if there are not many left, if everybody goes out there and starts.
I'm pretty sure we got a lot left.
Can you request an autograph on an autographed bar of soup?
I'll scratch my name into each one of them.
There you go.
Well, then I won't be able to use it. I'll have to keep it.
You have to buy two. You have to buy 2 of each now.
Yeah.
One for the display and one for the shower.
Let me tell you, I tried to keep a soap for a while, and if they get dust on them, it's real hard to get them off. But you can always keep the thing that the label that it slides right off, so you can keep that element of it.
All right. Well,
yeah, the same guy he made black metal soap. That's where it was like had some weird name, and he was on the front doing the corpse paint, and black metal soap smelled like leather.
I'll let you know that right this minute. Let's see.
He's still ordering. We are very professional.
$20 to ship. I'm going to contact your management about that.
$20 to ship?
Is it? Is that what it says?
It doesn't matter. I'm buying soap. I don't care. $140. I'll pay it.
Right on.
Oh wow. Well, I'm changing the price real quick here. Let me
take care of that.
Yeah.
I
am thrilled about Vindicator soap.
Okay, well, be thrilled about something else because TJ had mentioned earlier in the discussion here. How many freaking V bands are you in, Vic?
So that was a point of discussion on the last podcast I did. I was in a lot of V bands for a long time, and for probably the first year and a half of Black Fang's existence, Jesse and I didn't associate with it because it was our secret band. We tried to play it off like we were characters, and nobody knew it was us, so no one listened to it. So I finally, let the cat out of the bag. Hey, that was Jesse and I. And
I just now reminded myself that I'm wearing a Vitriol shirt, which is also another V band. Good grief!
See, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I also did a project called Children of the Horn while I was practicing for Vanek stuff. So he plays in E flat, and I decided I was going to write a few songs in E flat. And the track on Communal Decay, Spiders, is actually from Children of the Horn. It was originally a Children of the Horn song. I loved it too much to not do something with it. But yeah, that was a weird release. Like it's got some like weird, like not synthwave, but like creepy Halloween music, and then like really dirty basement metal, like blown out horror themed type stuff. So that was fun to do. So I've been in a lot of V bands. There was at one point it was Vindicator, Volcana, Vanek, and Vandalus. I was in Vandalus for a minute with the Vanek brothers, and but I'm no longer in Vanek or Vandalus. So it's just Volcana and Vindicator now, and Black Fang, and whatever other weird projects I come up with. But there for a minute I was like, this has got to be a V. When I named Volcana, I liked the name, but also I was like, it's a V, so that works. It's cool. Because Violent Night, there was Violent Night too. So I was on a roll for a minute.
Yeah.
I like Flying V's are my favorite guitar. So.
Oh, there you go.
I just now saw your message on Facebook. So
no worries, man.
I'm glad you got the link. I guess Scott shared it. I hope so. I feel like a tool bag. I just saw that.
Yeah, I sent it over to him.
Okay. Yeah, it would have been kind of hard to have the guest without the link, you dumbass producer. I rule. But I'm going to be clean.
Did you hit record?
Yeah, you're going to rule.
I did. Yes, we are actually live. Yes, you're welcome. And I did just get my receipt for my soap. So I intend to be smelling good by, hang on, what did it say? I should be smelling good on or around February 19th.
Yeah, it'll probably be sooner than that, but we typically ship every Friday. Probably not this Friday because we're about to get hammered with some kind of snow thing, but
so are we.
Pretty soon.
Even as far south as Texas, Vic.
I'm not soap live on the show today. What did you idiots do?
I wore a V shirt with unbeknownst.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Awesome, man.
I mean, any other questions about any of that stuff, or anybody got questions? Are there questions?
No, I
comments?
actually got online. And,
anything.
I got online and I went to your Bandcamp and I just bought everything. I bought all the music because I want to, and it all does sound. It all has its own personality, but it definitely has a Vindicator vibe. So that's the consistency of the music. But there's some production issues and some whatever. But I have to admit, I really love the demos. The raw, brutal, just like you say, the blown out basement tapes. I mean. What's not to love? That's metal, man.
Agreed.
Oh man, I was listening to it the other day, and I was like, man, this is so gross. It's like, we were just kids, and we were just got to get through the set. Got to get through, and we did. We got through the set. We didn't have to stop it. Like we played those songs, and if there was a mess up in them, there was just a mess up in them. The guitars are out of tune, but it's like the spirit, man. The spirit was there. We weren't posers, man. We were truly doing what we loved. We caught a lot of flack early on. You guys are just a bunch of posers, and it's like, I mean, I'm so much of a poser, I'm still doing it and still making no money. So it's like, awesome. That's being a poser is, right? I mean, that's the key thing there is like, we were doing what we loved and we were genuine about it,
Oh, absolutely. I am going to watch. I've got my homework ready. I'll be watching the video that you sent. I'm stoked about that.
You need to forward that, by the way. Don't just hog it all up yourself.
I've got soap on the way. This was a successful episode for me.
That's a very productive day.
I should say. You guys got any parting shots?
No, I mean, thanks for coming on. I mean, I know you didn't really get scooted out of the way, but I really wanted to talk about Vindicator on that first round. So, I noticed Scott's wearing a Vector shirt, so everyone's V'd out.
I've just got a black shirt on, so.
Black Fang. There you go.
I'm not. I have a D shirt on, so I got a Destructor shirt on right now.
Man, I love that band too. Have you played shows with those guys? Destructor, Midnight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a band. I went to a place called is it Mary Jane's in Cincinnati? It's like right on a river. It's like an old barbecue place. And I saw I saw Chastain, or actually it was CJSS, and there was a band called Ground Zero from Cleveland. You ever heard of those guys?
I have a sticker, but
not the punk band.
No, I don't know them. I've never actually heard them, but I have a sticker. Somebody gave me a sticker, and they're still like, they do stuff like once every 7 or 8 years. Seems like.
Yeah, one of the guys was a mailman.
Random.
The other guy worked at a shoe store or something. I don't know. It was crazy, but they were good.
Yeah,
they were. Really
I think
good.
They're still around.
Man, Ohio metal is got it going on. I really dig the whole Midwest rusty smokestacks and whatever, and the cold winds blowing in the winter. Man, I don't know. It does something to the music.
I have a
Salt and rust, man. That's what we got here.
Hell yeah. And metal.
Yep.
You can't have rust without metal.
Of course not.
That's right. That's right.
Hell yeah. All right, boys. Well,
I have
let's wrap it up.
Before you sign out. I
Yeah.
just want to let everybody know that Gamicide,
Ooh.
the 100 copies of vinyl that are being pressed are now up for sale. And from what I'm told by Bill, who is the guy who actually takes the orders for this crap, they are going quick. So if you want a vinyl copy, you better get it quick because there's literally only 100 copies pressed. So there you have it. Same thing with Madrost. We just did Madrost into the aquatic sector. Those are up for sale as well. And they will be shipping soon. They've been in production for months. So there you go.
That's awesome. And also shout out again to laserengraveart.com for our kick-ass cups. There's the metal Rob version. Thank you so much. These are not available. These were custom made for us. But maybe if you hit up laserengraveart.com, they'll send you one. I would recommend the metal Rob one. Yes, absolutely. Maybe it'll come with soap.
Did you dislocate your shoulder patting yourself on the back? That was really a nice move.
I'll be doing that with my soap when it comes.
Oh,
yeah, baby.
That's right. Yeah.
I almost wore my shirt today, and just to be in solidarity with Metal Rob, but I changed my mind at the last second. Went with Vector instead.
You did what? I missed the first part.
I was going to wear my Trickster shirt so I could be in solidarity with you.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of hair metal shirts. I don't know why.
That's shocking to me.
I know.
You don't want to be seen with a Tiger Tails t-shirt?
I have a lot of hair metal. There's my lynch.
Oh, yes.
Hell yeah. Signed. Yes. I know the hair metal. You get Mike Tramp on here, I got something to say.
I bet you do. So, Vic, one last thing before Rob signs off. Someone had asked about touring. Is there any chance you might just hit the road?
I don't know. There's certainly nothing in stone. Billy lives in Montana, so coordinating any type of shows and tours is a little difficult at the moment. But it's not something that we don't want to do. You know, it's certainly been talked about. It's being talked about, but you know, it could be some time before we manage to make that happen.
What about a fest?
I'd like to.
What about a fest or something like a, all out assault?
Yeah, we've had to cancel a few just because of logistics, in terms of getting people to where they need to be and not losing our asses, but that's the plan. I would say look forward. Please, anybody that's interested in the band, check all of our social as frequently as possible. Like, comment, share, do all that shit to let us know that you are there. But also so that you don't miss something like, hey, we announced a bunch of shit and it's already over with and now you're seeing it, it's just showing up in your feed now. So stay tuned because we are discussing stuff. I wouldn't say any kind of grand, huge, world tour or anything like that. We never made it to that level, but I want to get out there and play a few more shows. Something that we've talked about regularly is a Texas tour. I want to do that. I've wanted to do that forever. I would love that so much. So maybe a few one-offs, here and there, maybe a West Coast thing, Midwest thing, South thing kind of situation, but, spread out with, maybe years between them. I don't know. It's hard to say. Different things have taken priorities in a lot of our lives now. And as you know, Billy's very busy with the 17 bands he's in. So,
yeah.
It's a lot of, and Ed's also in Ringworm. So when they start doing a bunch of stuff, there's real logistics issues in trying to get everybody at the same place at the same time. So, I would say that the answer is not no. It's just we're not sure when.
That's a good answer.
The answer is maybe.
Yep.
And that's okay.
I could have just said that. I'm very long-winded. I'm sorry. That's how I talk. Drag things out. I could have just said.
No, man,
maybe, probably.
No, it's all good. We've had a couple of guests that are like, Yeah. No. It's like, dude, come on, man. We give us something, you know.
Can
but
you expand on that? Anyway, well, thanks for coming on again.
yeah, dude, it was awesome.
thanks
and
for having me
seriously,
again.
You're welcome anytime. If we've got a topic, hit me up or hit up Scott, message one of us and say, dude, shoot me the link, and you can just pop on.
And if you got any more, if you've got any more crappy demos you want to put out, I'd love to do another piece of art for you.
Yes. You know what's weird is I never recorded a whole lot of demos. I'm more of a I should do a demo of just little riff segments. That's how I demo material, man. Is I'll just record a couple riffs, a couple different riffs, and then I just write the song. I don't ever demo stuff, so I can do a demo of just bits and pieces. We call it tidbits.
I want a Vindicator Thrash and Demolish T-shirt.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, you guys can do that.
James LaRue.
We can do that. I know a guy that can do it for us.
I'll talk to you after, Vic.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you talk about Firehouse, man. I want to go see Firehouse. They're coming around soon.
Oh, dude, yeah. James says Firehouse, and so yeah, man. I want to go see.
Oh, James J watching. James, what up, Firehouse? Yes, let's go.
Yes,
that's the man. That's James. That's him. That's the guy.
Yeah.
That is the guy that was on United We Fall and Sleeping with Evil.
Yep.
Check out his channel. He's got one of his cats came from Ohio. Came from my mom and dad's farm. That's a connection we have.
Right on.
Nice. I'm gonna go see Firehouse with James LaRue. I bought soap.
I'm gonna buy soap.
I'll do anything. Yeah, I'm not afraid.
Living on the edge.
That's right. That's right. I do what I want. All right, boys. Well, let's get out of here. I appreciate you so much, Vic, for coming on. Sorry that, well, it's not sorry, just the previous engagement, went kind of weird with the priest.
Judas Priest is serious business.
Yeah, and it's funny because now it's a complete non-issue.
Right. It's because of this show, though.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the
That's right.
fallout from this show.
Yeah, it's a complete non-issue.
That's right.
But anyway, for episode 123 of the Metal Roundtable, I am Metal Rob. Thank you so much for checking us out. Like us, love us, smash the like button or whatever the kids are saying, and go to Bandcamp and buy some Vindicator soap like I did. We lead by example here, kids. All right, until next time, you know how we do it.
Metal will
prevail.
And then we hang for a minute because I can't